Too many things to do today. I mean, the week has been really busy for me.
I can imagine.
It's all
Thank
good.
you for your time. Yeah.
No worries. It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
try. I try to do the best I can.
Thank
So I probably should start by introducing myself. And I'll start by saying my name is Olushola Feshiton. And I'm a pharmacist. I'm a trained pharmacist. I also have a master's in public health. And I have about 8 years in total in medical sales or in sales in the pharma industry. Before then, I mean, while I was in school, I've had to do community practice back and forth for internship. I did my internship in NAFDAC, so I have a bit of experience in regulatory. And I moved into Canada last year, May last year. So I'm barely just a year and a month old in Canada. And I've been with MedQuest Medical just for 4 months. Yeah. So before now, I was working with Concentrics. It was one of those things we did to get by. So yeah, so if you'd like to learn more, I'm sure you get to know more about me as we go. And can you please kindly introduce yourself and your background and everything we may need to know? Thank you. Omar?
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my name is Omwa Ayeni. I recently moved into Canada in February.
Right.
I've had experience in hospital for about 3 years. I've had medical representative experience for about 1 year plus, and community experience.
Great.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Currently looking for where I can fit in this new environment.
Okay. Okay. Great. I'm glad you have a community you can rely on, and everyone I'm sure is willing to help. So yes, you're in the right place. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yeah, thank
Nima.
you.
Hi,
Hi,
um,
Nima.
hi, I'm Basirat actually. This is not my laptop. Okay, so I have a master's degree in public health and a bachelor's degree in pharmacy. I have both community and hospital practice experience, and
Okay.
I'm currently not working.
Mm-hmm.
I moved in roughly going to 2 years now,
Okay.
but and last year I did a diploma in clinical research. Still trying to
Okay.
find my feet for some
Mhm.
reasons. I'm not working at the moment here. So I think that's all.
Do you
Thank
have any
you.
work experience in Canada?
No, at the moment. I had a baby, so
Mm.
we're still trying to get to between both new experience and all. I'm moving to Canada as well.
I know what you mean. You must have your hands really full.
Yeah,
I know. You'll settle in. Trust me.
yeah.
You'll be
Thank you.
fine.
Thank you.
So thank you guys for the brief introduction. Thank you to Basirat and Omar. And I'll just go right into the presentation now. I'm not sure if I can share my screen. I'll try. Okay. Share. It's just a brief and quick one. I'll probably do more of the talking as against showing you too many stuff on my slides, just a brief introduction. So my name is Shola Fishton, like I said, and while in Nigeria, I worked in the pharma industry for 7 years. I've worked in 3 different multinationals. I worked in Janssen Pharma, Novartis, and then lastly was Boehringer. I spent most of my time in Novartis, and I think that was where I had the most experience as well. Constantly, I've had to cover the territory Oyo, Osun, and Oshogbo, Oyo, Osun, and Kwara while I was in Janssen. But for Novartis and Boehringer, I stayed with Oyo and Osun, and it was a pretty large territory. It was in the west, and there was just something very unique about that territory. I'll tell you about it. So my specialty was basically in psychiatry, dermatology, gastroenterology, cardiology, diabetes, antibiotics, OTCs and the likes. Then I won multiple awards along the line. I mean, I won best rep in my portfolio for about 2-3 consecutive years. I had multiple stretch roles as well. Like I said, all that happened while I was in Novartis, or while I was in Sandoz, which was a generic arm of Novartis. And then we moved on to merge into one Novartis. And then before I left Novartis for Boehringer. So basically, I'll just tell you a bit more about that. While I was in Nigeria, I started off as, I've always known myself to be an extrovert. I like to meet people, I like to make friends. And it was probably why I started my career in sales. I did community pharmacy or community practice back and forth while I was in school. While I was doing internship in NAFDAC, I was also doing locum in so many pharmacies. In fact, at the time when I was doing internship, I had gotten to more or less, I mean, I had gotten to an advanced level in my community practice, and I was earning pretty well, even as though I was still doing locum here and there, sometimes full job, sometimes full-time, sometimes part-time and stuff like that. So, and then I think I just got tired of having to get tied up in, not having my time to myself, just staying in one place, knowing I can be all over the place, outgoing. So that's, give me, or that's sort of informed my passion for medical sales. I got into, I was just sitting in a community practice or community pharmacy one day, and my friend called me and said, "Are you interested in being a medical rep?" I said, "Yes, why not? I can do anything." And, boom, I got a job even without going for an interview. And I started out there. That was where I started out with psychiatry. I did risperidone injection tablet. I actually launched risperidone injection, right? It was a new formulation where you could have a dose for 2 weeks, as against, because of the nature of psychiatry and everything that has to do with it, there's always an issue with compliance. So we had to, Janssen came up with an injectable that it could use, 1 dose per 2 weeks. So in a month or in 4 weeks, they get to have 2 doses. That improved compliance, and that sort of helped things a whole lot. Now, I worked with multinationals in Nigeria, and I learned a lot about ethics. I learned a lot about, pharmacovigilance. I learned a lot about, it was a standard practice because it was the same thing that was obtainable, everywhere, worldwide, right? So I learned a lot about what's happened all over the world in terms of pharma industry. So I started out there, and pretty much I did excellently well. I was only there for 1 year and 5 months. And I could tell you that in 6 months, I was hitting my target. I had started getting incentives, I think, from like the 4th month, which was 2nd quarter of my joining Janssen. And I did pretty well. I really enjoyed psychiatry, and that's particularly because the patients are always just very friendly and stuff like that. So I moved on to, I was poached by a senior colleague in Novartis, and he thought I was doing pretty well. He had a community pharmacy, and he saw the passion, he saw the drive and everything. So he poached me, and he asked me to come on to Novartis to work with him. I got double the salary, and I started. So I started with cardiovascular. I was doing pretty well. I remember I used to see Candesatan Sandoz was my baby. It had been launched before I got into the company, and for a bit, because of supply chain issues and stuff like that, it wasn't available at the time, and it sort of died down. It was performing, it was doing well, then it sort of died down, and it just wasn't doing well anymore. Here I was in Ibadan. I wasn't even in Lagos. I was in Oyo, Oshun, and I was doing pretty well with it. I was selling the most in the country. So then I got a stretch role. I got a stretch role to relaunch the product, to train everybody throughout the country. And I was given a set target on delivering the numbers within 6 months. We're supposed to achieve like a 50% or something like that, in 6 months, and then take it progressively. I was to give reports on a quarterly basis and stuff like that. Somewhere along the line, I started that, and somewhere along the line, the product manager left to another franchise. So I needed to sort of step up into the role of ad hoc product manager. I took on the role, I took on the job, and trust me, it picked up in about 6-7 months. We started doing really well. I was following up on everyone throughout the country in my portfolio or in my team, and we did excellently well with it, you know. And then somehow I did well with that. I was moved to another portfolio. I was moved to anti-infectives. I did pretty well. I mean, all that, like I said, back to back. I won awards. I won some cash in dollars as well, outside of my incentives. I mean, I made pretty good money. I like to make money. I like to go out. I like to speak to people. So, I mean, I was getting all I wanted, more like easy peasy. So, and then again, I was poached to Boringa. So for Boringa, it was pretty, they were innovator molecules, and it was pretty premium, right? So we really needed to sell those tailored messages. Tailored messages, I needed to look for the opportunities as well. Like I said, I was in Oyo and Oshun. I didn't have the high income earners like the Lagos people did, but I mean, I needed to find the opportunities. I needed to start with the major accounts in my territory. So key accounts was also part of the things that I did. And like I would tell anybody, everything you did in Nigeria, you will do here, or you probably wouldn't even do a third or a quarter of it. You have been well groomed, you have all the experience, you have everything it takes for you to excel and do so well in Canada. It is just about the same thing. And it's about creating access, right? Everything you do is about finding the right kind of patients, creating a need, and then meeting their needs. Meeting their needs, giving them their product, letting them have your product, selling them value, and then, you know, educating the doctors, telling them all the science and things like that. Well, here we don't tell so much of science, but I mean, we do a bit of it, right? So it's just about it. And the experience in Canada, I would say the experience in Canada is very similar. Now I've had to work in medical devices is a bit different, but I've had to learn a whole lot. Now I have to learn surgical procedures. I have to learn different kind of implants. I have to learn what they do, how it works in the body, how long it has to take, you know, different. I had to learn anatomy and physiology all over again. It's just about the same thing. But like I said, never be afraid to learn. Learn every day, speak to people, get all the information you can get, do your own research as well. With MedQuest Medical, I'm a territory manager for Alberta and Saskatchewan. Not much of work compared to what I did in Nigeria, and it's pretty easy here as well. There's a structure to it, and like I said, you don't have to take any exams to join this industry. I mean, medical sales, whether you're in biopharma, whether you're in medical devices, whether you're in pharmacy sales, whatever it is, you don't need any added qualifications or anything. You can always get in. Just make sure you can tell your own story. You have your interview tips. You have your CV well tailored to whatever kind of job you want. And then trust me, you will be fine. And there's so many opportunities, so many opportunities out there for you. So what I always say, amplify your little wins. I've had a lot of stretch roles. I've had to manage a product. I've had to technically launch products. You know, you have to be able to tell your story. These were things that you did. These were things that you probably would overlook, but these are major things for a recruiter or a hiring manager or whoever it is you're going to work with. It's a big deal, right? And you need to learn the exact terminologies here as well. You need to know, like I did a lot of roundtable discussions, I did a lot of presentations, I did a lot of speaker meetings while I was in Nigeria. So you need to learn what the terms are here, right? It's called basically lunch and learns here. We do a lot of that here. You know, you just speak to someone, hi, you send them a mail, hi, how are you? I like to speak to you about this. Would it be okay if I ask that we schedule a meeting either virtually or physically, whichever one works for you? And if it's physically, you meet them at your agreed place. I mean, you go with lunch or you go with breakfast, you talk, not much of science here, because a lot of times the science is taken over by the medical liaison here, just like Nika told you earlier. And then when you go for any interview, you don't get too formal. You don't do all the formal thingy like we did in Nigeria. Yes, no, where you let your interviewer take the stage and, talk about everything. Here, I mean, it's supposed to be a conversation. It's supposed to be a chat. So just as you're being asked questions, you also ask questions. You should also try to learn about the role, about what, if you're speaking to the hiring manager, I mean, what else you need to know about the company. You may want to ask a lot of questions around that, and, and everything you may want to know. I mean, you can reach out to me much later after now, and I can give you tips on the kind of questions you need to ask. Then while I was in Nigeria as well, I used a lot of CRM. Well, not a lot. I used two. I used Viva and I used Salesforce. They're all CRM. All the CRMs are similar. Right now, I use Fresh Sales. They're all very similar. You just basically need to have an idea. It's a reporting tool. It's just something to say, this is what I did today, because nobody works with you, nobody micromanages you, nobody sees what you do on a day-to-day basis. And I mean, for you to excel on this role, you must be really organized, right? Nobody's going to come breathe down your neck and tell you this is how you should do it. You must be able to plan and manage your time effectively. So that's your reporting tool to say, this is what you've done, this is what you've done. And if you need to keep track of your progress, then, I mean, that is just what gives you like your reports at a glance, right? I mentioned the resume should also be well tailored to the job description of whatever application or whatever job role you like to pick on, whether it's medical device, whether it's pharmacy sales, whichever one it is. And then get guidance from those on the field as well. You'll be doing yourself a lot of disservice if you're not speaking to people. Great thing you have this forum here where you can ask people a lot of questions and everyone is willing to help. I understand everyone is busy, right? We're all very busy. I don't think I'm too busy. I like to have a lot of fun. My weekends are always pretty much, time for me to play and do a lot of other things I'm interested in. And then my evenings are quite very free as well, so reaching out to me, sending me a text, asking questions wouldn't be too much of a big deal for me to do. And there are a whole lot of other people as well who are willing to give you all the tips and, all the help and guidance you may need. And I sort of will give you a range or an idea of what the salary expectations should be. So on the minimum, say for pharmacy reps, you probably will be getting, starting off should be industry standard, should be 70,000 per annum. And if you're that's for pharmacy reps, then you can have the GP reps as well. Those are the ones who see just family physicians and then maybe also pharmacies as well, clinics and stuff like that. And then they start out with 80,000 per annum, and you can go as high as 80,000, 90, or between 80 and 100. And if you're a specialty rep, which means you probably deal with a specialty portfolio, maybe dermatology or psychiatry or whatever, cardiovascular, you should be earning industry standard startup is 105,000, and it can go as high as say 150, whatever, based on your experience or whatever it is. So, that's basically everything I need to tell you about medical sales, right? And if there are any questions anywhere along the line and you'd like to ask me questions, please do feel free. My LinkedIn profile carries Shola Feshiton. Here is best you you tailor your name, make it as short as possible so it's very easy to pronounce and very easy for people to reach you. And like I said, if there are any questions at all, if there's anything you feel we haven't touched today and you'd like to know or you'd like to ask, please just feel free to reach out to me and I'll be more than willing to help. So Nima and Omar, sorry, Basirat and Omar.
Thank you so much for the presentation.
No worries, my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm ready to take your question if you have any for me, or if you want us to discuss, if you want us to interact, whatever it is. I mean, I'm here. We have.
Okay, let me ask the question. For someone that doesn't have a like the sales kind of vibe, like and from your work histories, like you've actually been into repping before coming to Nigeria, before coming to Canada, sorry.
Right.
How would, for someone that doesn't have that kind of experience, do you think it's is a field one can explore?
Yes, I would say it's a field you can explore. You know why? I think my sales experience basically started out while I was in community practice. And usually my boss would give me a target and she would say, this is how much you make on a daily. Can you exceed this? And she would put an incentive on it. And I was exceeding it, right? So it was basically just about finding the right opportunities, selling value to people, and selling value to people and hitting the numbers. So you can sort of translate that into sales as well. It's a sales experience for you. Yeah, because you're not just going to the pharmacy to sit down and then just handle prescriptions and stuff like that.
There's always a target.
Yes, there's always a target to it. So you have OTCs, you have nutraceuticals, you have a lot of things you need to deliver on, right? And for some reason, you hit it. So before joining the pharmacy, if the pharmacy has been doing, I mean, this is just an instance, if the pharmacy has been doing, let's say, 120,000 per day, you are coming on board, you're the new pharmacist they've just employed, your boss has a conversation with you. He wants to be sure that getting you on board is an added value for his business or for her business. And I mean, you're bringing something to the table. And he says we must make 200,000 per day. You would have to figure out how to make that sales. Not so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're making the sales. You were creating the access. You were selling value to people. It's just about the same thing. It's just a different terrain. It's just a different setting. It's just, I mean, you get what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Any more questions for me? Let's rub minds. Yeah. So we're Nigerians. We are built to be tough. And trust me, sometimes it may take a bit of time for you to get in, but when you do, it'll be well worth it. It'll be well worth it. I would say, please don't give up. Don't get discouraged. I put in God knows how many applications before I got this job.
I got one. Yeah.
Yeah. You just need one yes. And funny enough, just when I thought I was getting tired, and I really wasn't sending in any applications, or I had slowed down. I mean, my boss reached out to me and he's like, hey, hi, how are you? I've seen your profile and I think I like what I see. Would you be interested, or would you be open to a chat? It was just after Christmas. Would you be open for a chat sometimes after the new year? And I'm like, oh, yes, why not? And we had a chat. It was a chat, right? It was meant to be an interview. It was a chat, he liked my personality. He felt I had a lot of energy. He could feel it. It was a Zoom chat. It was a Zoom interview. We spoke the first time. The second time, he wanted to know more about my experience, what I had done in the past, and stuff like that. Just keep speaking into your CV, into the role you're taking on, or your prospective role. And, he liked everything he saw. He felt I could do the job. And then by the third call, he just said, hey, he told me he was going to discuss again. He was further going to discuss and try to get to know me more and stuff like that. By the third call, he just said, well, hey, hi. I just got to tell you, you just got the role.
Got the job.
I'm like, and that was it for me. That was it for me. It wasn't all yes, no, answer the questions. No, you make it interactive. You let them, because the world has gone virtual now. You need to be able to bring out your personality as well. You need to let people feel your energy, right? You can't just sit here and, I mean, we're conversing now, we're talking. It feels like we're just gisting and stuff like that. Yeah, you need to, even though you don't make it so informal, but you need to let them feel you, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and when you do 1, 2, 3 interviews, you will get a good grasp of what exactly you should be doing right, what exactly is expected of you, you know, I mean, the likely things that you would need.
I had an interview of recent, and the response was not positive, but it kind of affected me a bit, but I think it's still part of the learning process. Because
please don't let it.
because the vibe the person brought was
Yeah.
kind of harsh, and it made me lose balance, and I was like, oh God, what did I just get myself into? In fact,
I'm
I knew.
sorry about that. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah, that's
sorry.
why. But it's coming to Canada, yeah, I guess you have to learn a lot of things and
Be
still in the learning
courageous.
process. Yeah.
You need to exude that courage. You need to let
Yeah.
them know there's nothing they're going to ask you to do that you don't already know.
Can't,
Trust me.
yeah.
And if you need to get the right support, you need people to psych you up. You need people to tell you you can do it. Trust me, you have loads of them on the group, on the WhatsApp group or from Slack. You have them in your corner. Trust me, you can do it. If one throws you off balance, I'm sure the next one is going to be way better.
Better, yeah.
So don't be faced by that. Don't be discouraged. It's a process. It's a learning process. And like I said, when you get the job,
That's
trust me, you'll be well
just
worth
a
it.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's going to be easy for you to move if you have to move, if you have to change companies and stuff like that. Trust me, you will get it. And you need to have that positive mindset.
Mindset.
Positive. If someone says, no, you can't, then you need to show them, yes, you can.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Yes, like I said, Nigerians are rugged. We're doing well all over the world. You can't be left out.
Definitely.
Yeah, you cannot be left out, Basirat. So you can't be left out. And I mean, you've done a whole lot. You know how much sacrifice you had to make to come to Canada. You need to prove to yourself it has to be well worth it.
Definitely.
If it's not an investment, yes, you need to make it. Yeah.
That's true.
Omar, are you still with us?
Thank you.
Yeah, I am. Very well.
Yeah, so you have any questions for me?
No, not really. But
Okay.
I want to interact with you and reaching out. So
okay, no worries. Like I said,
I'll reach out to you on LinkedIn as well.
That'll be fine. Absolutely.
All right.
I'll be more than willing. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much
so
for joining me today.
Thank you.
Have a
It was nice
beautiful
chatting with you.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. My pleasure. Have a great evening. And bye now.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Omwa.
bye.
Bye. Have a great evening as well.
Yeah, you too.